We don't know if Roger would have came to this conclusion if rocks never got turned to diversity.
It raised questions for me because I thought it was peculiar. Oda didn't show us Rox's face when he passed.
I know a lot of people are really upset on how Rocks ended, and it's understandable. I'm glad Oda gave us this much a little bit, because some people thought, that was the end of the chapter and we're not going to see any more Galley Valley. But honestly, this actually explains and kind of already told us what we already knew, why nobody mentions Rocks anymore. Because Whitebeard, Big Mom, and their relationship with Rocks, even Garp and Roger don't really know what happened to Rocks. I like the fact Roger said proved to be true with freeing Rocks, and it actually did work. As you can see, Rocks has his mind and body intact. And the fact is, and you're right, Larry, he is missing nothing. Like, he's not missing a limb. He's actually fine. And actually kind of goes into, knowledge and understanding what your abilities are Haki-wise. And that's what goes into, we saw that Haki blooms through, adversity. But to me, it's not just fully adversity. It's also how you use your Haki in certain situations that you are not fully aware of. For instance, we saw it briefly, with Luffy with the handcuffs, how he unknowingly used Haki in mission to free himself. That's not an adversity. You're in a situation where you could possibly get taken out, but your head getting exploded. You realizing, Haki's what saved me. Mm-hmm. Doing that. And again, that's linked to what Rayleigh did. Experience over time, either through adversity or just you in certain circumstances. For instance, we don't know if Roger would have came to this conclusion if Rocks never got turned to diversity. We don't know. But the fact that this happened, again, Roger and Garp are Haki masters, proficient at it, and their Haki attack still wasn't working. And they were doing leakage, they were doing Haki hardening, and it still wasn't doing what normally attacks when it would have regularly worked. They had to go something more. And you put in those situations, it's showing how you get stronger. Again, not through just adversity, but just situations, how you figure out how to use your Haki more proficiently in a certain way and in a different way. And that's what's going to knowledge-wise, they didn't realize until too late. If they knew this already or figured out already, Rocks probably still would have been alive. And I was also going into the same thing with Rocks actually. In the critical mass Haki, I think this is the same Haki that Jobei used in his knot to send the Gorosei flying, and Emu felt it. And I think Oda was linking that because before that we saw Shanks do something similar with Green Bull. And I was mostly going by in the panel. If you look at how Garp and Roger did their last attack and how far stretched their leakage Haki came out off the island, he looked a lot similar to how Jobei did it. Yeah. And Oda shows how much impact or output of Haki when he shows the island far away. Some of it's close up, some of it's a lot farther, some of it's even ridiculously far. He picks and chooses how much out Haki or Conqueror's Haki is getting output, how distance or how much leakage is coming out from the island itself. And if you look at the panel of Garp and Roger doing it, and you look at Jobei's, it looks similar. I think that's the same Haki where Oda was, referenced both times, but now we're seeing there's actually a name towards it. Mm-hmm. And I think the same way how if Rocks understood this and knew this, I don't think he would have got Diamond Reversity. And that's going to with the knowledge thing. The same thing with, Law. I didn't know intensifying my Haki could negate abilities till he fought a Yonko. Again, through experience, through going through adversity, but also realizing how you use Haki in a certain way. Because remember, Law got turned into a girl. If he didn't realize that moment, he would be a girl right now still. But since he realized it, then he did it, it worked. So that's really through knowledge, but also use of knowledge. Because you can have knowledge of doing something, you're not probably efficient at using it, or you don't even know how to use it. Because when he's showing in One Piece, Zolo and Luffy are prime examples are you did something, you used Haki, and you didn't know what you were fully doing. Zolo did not know he was a conqueror. And he was using it to fight Kaido a little bit when he scarred him, and he used it to fight King. But he didn't realize he was a conqueror till Albath. And now he knows he's a conqueror. He's going to be more proficient in using his conqueror ability because he's not more aware of it. And that's the point I was kind of breaking out. This explains, maybe we wanted more, but that explains why Rocks was such a big figure in their lives and throughout history, but how he ends was mysterious. What can you speak about? It was so weird. It was just a bad take on everybody's mouth. It explains and understands why nobody brings up Rocks anymore. And talking about the people who knew Rocks and had a relationship with him. This is what happened. What's there to talk about?
Rock's passing like this had me sad, man. It really did. I've come to like really, really enjoy his character a lot, and it raised questions for me because I thought it was peculiar. Oda didn't show us Rox's face when he passed. Typically, you know, all D clan members pass away with a smile on their face. So I think I highlighted it a couple weeks back. Like, we gotta wait to see that. Like, we're not gonna see the passing of Rox until we get that moment. Then we'll know, right? Even when the critical mass Haki hit him, I was like, well, we'll know that he's gone when you see him smiling and he's gone. For us to not see it, it's like bizarre. And maybe it's supposed to be that way because Lana was putting it perfectly, I thought, about why Rox isn't remembered. Right? He didn't get to go out in this grand fashion. Like, I think Kaido even said Whitebeard did it right? Or he was thought back to like people like Roger, etc., who've passed away in some grand fashion. Rox in his mind didn't. And it's why he's not remembered in the same light. So I'm like, maybe a part of him passing in this way, silently hidden on an island that was being destroyed where nobody knows exactly what happened. Maybe that's part of why Oda didn't draw his face and draw him smiling. But I thought we could have gotten that still based off of his reaction because he was thankful to Roger and Garp about what they did for him when they heard him with the voice of all things. And it reminded me of Ace even because Ace was thankful that people came to him. And in the inverse, people basically ran away from Rox, which I thought was funny. Where it's like Ace had all these people attacking this island to protect him. When Rox goes to this island, he kind of seemingly ended up alone, and then he had to rely on people that he looked at as rivals to get him out of this Dami Reversi curse. So I thought it was beautiful, but also jarring.
Yeah, some people are going to give you pushback, though, because when you close in on it...
You think he's smiling there? Maybe, bro.
There's a bit of... I would say he's content, but I don't think he's, like, smiling. You know what I'm saying? Like, the way Odin smiled in the pop.
Yeah. Right. So to me, and Odin's not a D-Clan member. So it's like, to me, it's always been a very, very pronounced, I'm smiling in the face or at my passing. I'm content with what's happened. And that's what made it even sadder because in every other case, Odin, even Luffy when he was about to be taken out by Buggy, Ace after he basically had the culmination of his life, they were content with what happened there because they're like, okay, this is the culmination of my life, and they're
Roger
happy.
too.
Yeah. Roger, etc. Rox could never think that way because he had so much more planned, so much more to do, so much more of his mission was still left on the chopping board. Like, he was probably, maybe 60% of the way there with what he was trying to actually accomplish. Like, he was getting the crew, he was still trying to get the Herald, he's still trying to get, we'll talk about that later, trying to get the Devil Fruits, trying to take out Imu in the throne to be the king. And I'm like, he basically got to the halfway point, and then this happens. And it's like, if he smiled, I would have been happy, but at the same time, I'm like, that's not Rox. He wouldn't be content. Yeah. There would be no contention, like, there would be no happiness here outside of just that, thank y'all for getting me back here.
Maybe.
Okay.
Because his family did escape.
That's the other piece.
That's the only piece.
The other piece.
I was going to say, because he kind of threw away his ambitions for his family.
But that was my other piece.
Yeah.
I would have liked him to think back to Eris in this moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, Oda, if you're going to have this, he's sacrificed all of this to save his family, to save Teach. He should be thinking back on Teach and Eris then, and the family.
I thought that too, but that's why I think it goes into his mind. What does he actually know now? Because right now we brought up he took out his family, like his father and his mother. I mean, his grandparents, whatever. Does he still believe that he possibly took out his wife and his kid? Because that's why
because he doesn't know that they got away. Yeah.
So he could be saying, "Take me out because I did these things, and now my own crews are against me now."
Which would still bleed into why he's not smiling.
Exactly.
Now. Because now I'm in my mind, I might even have taken out Teach. I might have taken out Eris.
Yeah.
It just, we rarely get the perspective of a specific character in this way that we're getting from Rox, so I really enjoyed it. I was just like, man, it would have been hard for Oda to get us to him smiling at death organically, so I was happy he didn't, but I was disappointed that he didn't.
Yeah.
And it also, I'm going to hate it if this is the case. It does open the path for Oda to be like, Rox will return to the current storyline. I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't enjoy it at all.
No.
The fact that we ain't see him and we ain't see the body. People are saying,
if you gone, stay gone.
The only thing, and I don't know if y'all gonna like it, they could have took his body and turned him to a seraphim. Or did experiments on him.
I don't want that.
I don't want to, but there's a possibility they might have done it.
People have been absolutely bodying Garling for being the captain. And I'm going to say, as a Garling guy, I get it. How you going to spin the block at Aura Farm when you do it after you just got bodied by this man a couple hours back, bro? I will say it hurt to see that from my guy as a Garling guy. I was like, man, this is what we do. We low down dirty like this. But at the same time, as a guy that loves villains, I was with it. To me, it goes to show how powerful the regenerative ability is. Because Rox put this man down. Garland seemingly got the real beat down, you know what I'm saying? But like now they're back seemingly perfectly fine, capable of carrying out missions like this. Granted, Rox is on his deathbed. He's not able to fight back or anything. But to me, I just think back to what the Straw Hats will have to deal with when it comes time to actually defeat these people. And like even Rox was able to body this person and they came back like this.
Yeah.
So it's like, what will it actually take to bring them straight down for good? I thought of that. I really enjoyed this double page spread with all the main players of God Valley. Everybody's kind of going off on their own path and their own ways. Roger and Garp are passed out. They put everything they had into this. And it just sucks that basically the actual main character of this arc didn't make it to the end of the arc. We knew he wasn't going to, but you really wanted him to at some point. Like, I mean, you felt that way. So,
Rock's passing gear. Yes, it is sad the way he went out too. Low-key, Oda kind of did him dirty this way. But for the smiling thing, I'm not saying that Oda's going to do it, but I can picture an avenue where he does show it. It'll be through Garling's memory. Like, for all the D-Clan members that smiled, it's not like, oh, they're smiling the entire time. Like, think of Ace. Ace was crying, literally, his conversation with Luffy. It wasn't until his final moment, a smile popped up, and he goes, thank you guys for loving me. Smile. Think of even Luffy. It wasn't until the lightning or the thing got like right at his neck where he smiles. It wasn't until their last moment. Right now, he's like talking, but it's like right at the last moment, he's saying thanks. Through that memory, it could be like I don't know how Oda would do it, but like these D-Clan members or whatever, think about it. But I want to mention one thing about the Haki, right? We talk about the critical mass and what was needed. We got to remember like why Roger was also mentioning, because I agree, it's also you realizing what is needed to overcome. And this is why one of the things I love about Roger. Because Roger's the one that figured this out and was explaining this to Garp. Like, because even though if you look at the first clash with Rox and Roger, they clashed evenly. Rox didn't Haki harden his blade with Whitebeard. When they clashed when he was at Dami University, he only did it with Roger. And what I saw, Whitebeard Haki hardened his arm and used his Quake or whatever. But Roger went with his Conqueror's Haki and Haki hardening, and then they clashed evenly. And then Garp comes afterwards, that tries to follow up, and they clash evenly with his face or whatever. Then Rox lets out this supercharged more Haki into it, blowing them back. So then Roger's realizing, yo, we're not getting through. It's like we're throwing all this Haki at him, we're hitting him, but it's not going through because they're canceling out because our Hakis keep clashing evenly with Rox. We need a critical mass of like everything because we're just canceling each other out. So Roger realizes this. But this is what I'm going to go into, like, the Dami University with his parents. So I don't know what Oda's doing here. I go into, like, the Dami University is only going to be so strong as the vessel that Imu is using for it. I don't know if he's going to get a better vessel than Rox in that aspect, because who else is going to get Dami University besides, I guess, maybe Herald. But and with that thought, notice how Rox, possibly, what I learned, took out his parents. Like, he ended them. And you can link that too. Like, this is probably what Rox is thinking, that what needs to like stop Dami University. You need to take them out, because when he's going to Roger and Garp, he's like, and me, right? But notice how, so we see Rox's parents are finished. So when they do this critical mass of Haki to overtake Dami University, not only is Rox not passed, his body's still intact when we saw it being torn to shreds. So whatever that false, because the body got enlarged or whatever happened, was able to undo Dami Reversi in that aspect without taking out the host. You left it completely vulnerable, but the host's body wasn't ripped to shreds, like we saw it was happening there, and Rox is still conscious, so he's still alive. So I wonder if there's a level here, going back to what Lionel was saying, I wonder, for example, if what Joe Boy did was a link to reversing or affecting Imu's Haki or taking out Dami Reversi, right? So I just thought that what was needed.
This is why Rox's passing bothers me so much. Ever since Rox debuted, I'm a fan. I'm gonna glaze a little bit. I've been fascinated by his character. At the very start of his career, the man storms into Mari Joa, kidnaps 5 kings during a reverie, and directly challenges Imu to their face. The narration literally tells us that no one, before or after, has ever infiltrated the Chamber of Flowers the way Rox did. On his way out, he casually defeats an admiral, only to run into Herald, who's insanely strong, by the way, and the two of them clash using Advanced Conqueror's coding. And Rox stops that clash just to help Herald escape. He attacked ships carrying heavenly tributes. He was so strong, he destroyed a gate of justice. Nobody ever brings that up. Blackbeard, with the famous Yami Yami, couldn't get through it without hypnosis on a guard from Lafitte. Whitebeard with the Gura Gura couldn't break Marineford's wall, and I'm sure that's weaker than a gate of justice. And he has the world's strongest Devil Fruit. Rox, he breaks it alone, casually. His Haki warped the space around his targets, in my opinion. He played Davy backfights solo to build his crew with nothing but his strength. He made himself the enemy of the entire world and laughed at it because he believed he would become its king. He terrified the world so thoroughly, they named an entire era after him, even while Roger discovered the last island lodestar. He was considered Roger's most formidable foe, Roger's strongest adversary, according to the Road to Laugh-Tale and Sengoku. He sought out 2 Devil Fruits and the Galila giants. He earned the respect of 3 future emperors, Big Mom, Kaido, and Whitebeard, 3 conquerors who would go on to dominate the seas for years. And even after winning them through Davy-back fights, he offered them the freedom to leave. They stayed with him for nearly 18 years. Shaki didn't hide under Roger. She sought refuge under rocks because she believed that was the safest place from the world government. The Gorosei tried to use Harold as a political pawn to manipulate rocks, failed, and instead he risked everything trying to save his closest friend. He's not just a worshiper of Davy D. Xebec, he's part of that family. Through that family, he tried to protect Edis and their son Teach, showing his true nature. A kind, loving man who wanted to rule the world, not for power, but because he always targeted the organizations destroying people's lives, like the Corrupt Philanthropy Federation, the Heavenly Tributes, or the world government enslavement of Elbaf. He became the first character ever to make a Holy Knight completely unable to fight back, who is Shanks' father, and to destroy Imu's Domi Reversi while fighting one-handed and protecting his wife and child. He sliced across an island without even coding his attack in Haki. He stood toe-to-toe with Imu alone until everyone else managed to catch up and help fight. Even while under Domi Reversi, he became the first person to resist it to such a degree that Imu had to overpower him manually with their own Haki, in person. He's also the first character since Joy Boy on Egghead to provoke Imu into losing their composure. Everyone respected him. His crew grew to love him, the world was in awe of him, and to this day, even Roger's journey to the One Piece sometimes doesn't compare in weight to Rox's story. And we spent decades learning about Roger. And yet, this is how he passes. Alone, his family gone, crying out to his counterparts to end his life under the influence of Domi Reversi, snot coming out of his nose. His rivals confused, his crew left feeling betrayed, and in the end, he loses his life to someone who didn't earn it. They stole a kill. Not only is this the worst possible way for him to go out, it feels completely undeserved. Rox deserved a better ending. It feels like Oda built this man up to have the greatest pirate era we've ever seen, only to leave us unfulfilled. It's like he's purposely saying, yo, Luffy's gonna give you that feeling. His name erased from history. No one wants to speak about him. This is the man Dragon, Luffy, and even Roger had/have to live up to and surpass. And it's crazy that Oda chose for him to go out like this. Instead of the island crumbling away like this and Garling stealing the kill, Imu should have sent the ancient weapon Uranus, used the weapon without a proper mother flame, and erased the island and rocks along with it. It's stupid, bro. It really is. But it really makes me wonder, did Whitebeard and Big Mom, when they were looking back, did they want to stay? Because if they had, Rox would have survived. Yeah. Sebastian would have finally gotten his Garling versus Whitebeard moment. And Oda could have retconned the scar right there.
You'd have taken that to keep Rox around?
Yes. Give me the L.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't.
Rox lives, Garling scars Whitebeard, and the story becomes even stronger overall. It would have been a true non-zero sum outcome for everyone involved. Whatever, GG's, I guess.